Hey there, stranger, and welcome to the other side. This is the 6th map from Stardate 20x7. Okay, let's not beat around the bush. This is probably the most underwhelming level in 20x7 when it comes to visuals. I mean, it's okay, but compared to Eastern Sun or Sphinx Rising, it really feels like just a bunch of abstract geometrical shapes in the void. It has its charm, but it doesn't feel as inspired as the other maps. I think this castle in the distance really captures what I'm talking about. It's very reminiscent of the upside-down castle in Precarious, the 5th map in Sunder, and to me it just feels like an attempt to fill the background with something. Anything. Okay, I think that's enough negativity. Moving on. The other side has a rather interesting progression. Our goal is to secure the yellow keycard, which is the only thing we need to open the exit. We start in a sizable hub area that we need to clear out. Pressing the switch on a little shrine opens 3 possible ways. One leads towards the exit, which is locked. We can drop down there to get the double barrel shotgun, but it's risky. The other 2 paths lead towards the first major encounter. The only difference is that if we drop down to the area with Revenants, we get to clear out some of the enemies before the main fight begins. But actually that's not necessarily a good thing, because we need meat shields for the infighting. After we're done with this area, we can choose between 2 exclusive ways towards the finale. Normal one and a secret one. Each route has a unique major fight, after which we go towards the area that has a yellow key. Once we have it, we can jump straight towards the exit. The idea behind this is that the fight in a secret route is relatively easy, whereas the one in a normal route is ridiculously hard. So if you do not care about 100%ing levels, you can take the easy secret path and beat the map without major headaches. On the other hand, if you want to clean the place out, you have to deal with possibly the most difficult fight in the entire Stardate series, which is the infamous Revenant Staircase. The Revenant Staircase is a truly evil creation. Once we reach the top and press the switch, we get teleported to the bottom, while a horde of over 80 Revenants warps in at the peak. Not only there's absolutely no cover at the bottom, but also the stairs make the movement awkward, as if dodging dozens of homing missiles was not enough. To top things off, few Revenants come from the portals along the staircase to prevent us from ascending towards a more advantageous position. This fight is so difficult that I have never managed to beat it legitimately, not even once. There is, however, a certain trick. It doesn't trivialize the encounter, but makes it more manageable. It's pretty difficult to pull off though. If you strafe run off of the staircase by the 3rd portal, you can get onto those strange architectural things near the bottom and hide behind the main warp point at the top. You can really fight Revenants reliably from there, but that's not the point. The idea is that you get all the Revenants, including those that come from the portals, towards the top. Then you jump onto the teleporter pad and rush towards the horde. Near the place from which you jumped, there's a section with a wall which is the best defense position on the staircase because it's the only place where you have cover. Once you get there, you can focus on skeletons in the front without having to dodge dozens of others attacking you from the side. The main issue with this tactic is that the trajectory towards the platforms behind the warp point is very iffy. It's very likely you will hit the line there for the teleporter pad and get transported to the bottom of the staircase. If that happens, you have no choice but to fight the regular way. There's no second chances, you can't attempt that jump again. You can also jump at the wrong angle and not even make it towards the platform. And finally you can overshoot and not manage to stop before running off of it. In short, this trick is really tough, but in fights like this we have to take what we can get. Also, while there aren't many interesting things in this level, there's this pit right at the start which contains 4 invulnerability orbs. They're completely inaccessible and that's why I like it. It's like putting a cookie just out of reach. Okay, let's begin. First we're gonna grab the Soul Sphere and take care of the chain gunners. I like to use those columns as cover, it's probably the safest way. Once we open the passages, I'm gonna make a pretty tricky jump towards the ledge with a lot of plasma packs. This ledge lowers later on, but I prefer to grab the ammunition as quickly as possible. Also, pay attention to the angle at which I'm doing the SR40. This is exactly how you're supposed to be positioned to make it to the ledge. And it's actually easier in demo recording because due to short ticks you have a limited amount of angles at which you can turn. But that's an explanation for another time. The encounter at the bottom is probably the toughest fight except for the Revenant Staircase. We're gonna have multiple Imps, Pain Elementals and Archviles teleporting from 4 distinct locations. In addition, there will be, I think, 2 or 3 stationary Archviles as well as a couple of Revenants and Hell Knights on pillars. This battle can play out in many different ways, so you just have to adapt dynamically to what's going on. Generally, it's a good idea to take care of the first 2 Pain Elementals and then kill the Archviles that come from that particular spawn point. You see there are 2 teleporter pads and there are I think 3 other locations like this. They all have the same exact monsters. So now you can see why I didn't go towards the double barrel shotgun, because I wanted all those zombie men and revenants to be shooting this way, basically hoping that they would distract the Archviles. Now, this went really well, but unfortunately it's not gonna happen every single time. Honestly, I feel like this fight is kind of RNG. Depending on what the pain elementals do, what the Archviles do, where the Archviles come from, you know, how quickly they come to your position from other warp points, there's so many things that you just have no control over. Yeah, and this tactic works relatively well. You have to go to the opposite side of the square and hopefully wait for some Archviles to come. The Archviles are very fast, so they're gonna outrun all the other monsters. Now, in this case I wasn't very lucky, I only killed one of them, but you know, like I said, you just have to adjust to what's actually going on. There's no method that you can just use reliably and it's gonna work every time. So, at one hand, it's kinda cool that this fight is so random and dynamic, but on the other, it's kinda too difficult. There are too many Archviles for this to be fun to play. At least I cannot beat this reliably, I don't know, maybe you're better than me. But from my experience, things can go south really fast here. So, right now I'm trying to get some infighting going on between the Hell Knights and Revenants to conserve ammo, though I'm not even sure if that's really necessary here. Oh, but the very interesting thing about this level, there is no backpack, and this is actually very impactful. Now you're gonna see that's gonna be very important during the Revenant Staircase fight. Also, I told you in one of the previous videos that this demo is actually really smooth for my kind of standards. And you can see right now that I have a decent amount of health and armor. Now, this does not happen very often here. I think that at this point I'm kind of wasting too much time trying to trigger the infighting. I don't think that's necessary. But you see, this fight went so well, surprisingly well, that I just do not want to squander this opportunity. And you know, it is Stardate 20x7, so you never know when you're gonna need that ammo. Also, now you can probably see why I decided to jump onto the sledge with the plasma cells. Like I said, you can grab them later, but then you're not gonna have enough cells for the first batch of pain elementals and Archviles. But thankfully it's at least a very reliable jump, so if you position yourself exactly as I did, you should be able to make it. But you might want to play with short ticks, because ironically that's gonna help you here. Okay, finally time to take care of these Archviles. I think they've been pestering us for long enough. There is a little path behind those Archviles, and that leads towards the regular route through this level. However, we're gonna take the secret route first. And actually, to be quite honest, it's been so long that I don't really remember why I did this. Maybe we'll be able to figure this out together, because I honestly don't remember. Well, it probably had to do with resources. Maybe I get more resources when I go for the secret path first. I'm pretty sure I had some reason for this. Yeah, because I always try to get the toughest fights out of the way first, so probably there was something wrong with just going straight for the Revenant Staircase. In the meantime, it's time to take care of this little place. It has a switch which lowers a lift that takes us to the secret path. Also, yeah, that was just beautiful. I was doing so well, and then in the easiest part I lost so much health. The secret fight looks really scary, but it's actually pretty easy. It involves the cyber demon, so of course it's pretty dangerous, but compared to everything else, it really is not a problem. You see, the infighting happens almost instantaneously. We're waiting for a switch to appear that will bring this whole place down. And now we've got a bunch of mancubi all around. There are also revenants behind those columns. And just to spice things up, behind 2 of the columns there are 2 Archviles. Yeah, this side with the soul sphere is safe. Usually I'm trying to wait a bit longer before waking up the revenants, but in this run I'm kind of forced to do it sooner. So right now I'm just kind of, okay, pure chaos, let's unleash everything. As you can see, there's a lot of cover here. It really isn't that difficult. It may look pretty scary, but it's not. I don't even think I've ever died in this place, maybe like one time during my attempts or something. As long as you do not wake up the Archviles too quickly, then you're fine. Well, actually, even if you do wake them up, it's not really a problem, because they will probably infight with something. As you can see, you don't really have to do any killing here by yourself. The monsters just take care of themselves. Just pay attention to what the cyber is doing. So right now I'm trying to get some infighting going on between the Arachnotrons and the cyber demon. It's not really that important, but you know, better safe than sorry. But it's finally time to get rid of this guy. So as you can see, this secret path is really easy. After this, we're gonna teleport towards the place with the yellow key, and that's basically it. The yellow key area is not really difficult either. Also, you'll probably notice that one of the Arachnotrons is infighting with something far, far away. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea how it happened, because I think he's infighting with one of the Hell Knights, or maybe one of the Barons at the beginning? Yeah, I probably should have used the camera mode to see what was going on there. Now it's possible that one of the Barons targeted me right as I was walking through the teleporter, and you know, he threw his projectile when I was in this place already. But you see, I was like, oh well, this Arachnotron is busy with someone else, so I didn't kill him, and actually that almost gave me a heart attack near the end. But we'll get to that after the Revenant Staircase. Alright, I have a lot of cells, so I'm just gonna plasma those imps. There are a few Mancubi here, but it doesn't matter, this place is easy. We have to grab that one armor bonus on the pedestal, and that triggers the big fight. That's actually pretty stressful, but if you know what to do, it's not that bad. And yeah, I apologize for this part, this is pretty boring. Basically, you see that Mancubus over there? Like, I'm trying to get him to infight with the Hell Knights, and again, I don't know why I'm even doing this. And of course this is that time again when the monsters just refuse to shoot at each other. Now, it's not like I have a lot of rockets here, but in retrospect I should have just killed them right away. We only really need 4 rockets to kill the Archvile that's gonna appear after we pick up the armor bonus, but that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm just admiring this beautiful scenery here, made of blocks or whatever. I already complained about that in the intro, so... I don't know, maybe some people like that kind of stuff, but to me it just feels really uninspired, especially in comparison to other maps in the set. I mean, I guess at least it doesn't look the same as other levels, so that's something. Anyway, so once we grab the armor bonus, a bunch of Revenants are gonna be released, as well as Archvile on the pillar, and a couple of Mancubi around this place. It's actually gonna be a bit of a fight for space. We can actually squeeze between those dark columns over there, but there's a damaging floor there. Ah, finally done with this. So yeah, first kill the Archvile as quickly as possible, and then use the Mancubi as shields against the Revenants. And yeah, this little spot is interesting because we're pretty much completely safe over here. The Revenants can get here, but they won't be able to shoot us above this wall, so that's a perfect defense position. So as long as you have a lot of spare cells, then you can just wait here and kill everyone. However, I'm not that cheap, so I decide to eventually get out of there and just fight them out in the open. So after we're done with this, we're gonna go to the exit area. As I mentioned before, we could have accessed this area right at the beginning, but there was really no point of doing that. There are a bunch of chain gunners and I think 2 Archviles over there, so going there without a plasma rifle or rocket launcher is really not a good idea. I mean, it's survivable and you get the double-barrel shotgun out of the deal, but I mean, you get it anyway very quickly, so you just take a lot of damage there, so don't go there. Alright, you probably have noticed 2 Archviles appearing as we drop down. I choose to take care of the chain gunners first and then focus on the vials. There are a lot of columns here, so it shouldn't be too difficult to avoid their attacks. Well, I still get blasted by them, but whatever. It's because of those Hell Knights behind me. And by the way, yeah, that's the exit already. We can just run towards the exit and be done with this map. So like I said, if you do not care about killing everything, if you're not crazy about 100% in everything, you can just choose this route and, I mean, you should be able to beat it, it's not extreme. But hey, we came here to get the UV Max, and we're gonna get the UV Max. So there's one more fight before the Revenant Staircase. I used to think it was really difficult, but I think I figured out a fairly reliable way of dealing with it. Oh yeah, and this mega armor is extremely important. That's why I left it for this moment. Okay, so my strategy is this. First, kill the Archvile with a rocket launcher, then switch to the plasma rifle, kill all the chain gunners and use the pillar as cover. And really, once the Archvile and the chain gunners are out of the way, this is really a straightforward fight. But you see, the problem is not survival. The problem is that we want to save as much of that armor that we've picked up. Because guess what? For the Revenant Staircase, we do not get any armor. Now how cool is that? I mean, it's really bizarre. A Megasphere would not be an overkill there. Okay, so first we have to take care of the portals. There will be an Archvile in almost every single one of them, and we have to keep them inside the portal so they do not run out. The good thing is that we can use plasma as much as we like, because plasma rifle is completely useless in the final fight. So yeah, just 2 more portals. And just to throw you off, the final portal has a zombie man. And here we go, quickly, go for the jump. Whee! And we made it. Okay, so far so good. I got hit, but that's fine. I'm gonna be waiting here for about 30 seconds just to get all those revenants, especially those from the portals, all the way up to the top of the staircase. Now you can try to shoot the revenants from here. I think I saw it in one of the demos, but it's really unreliable because you're not really utilizing splash damage as much as you should. Oh yeah, and now you're gonna see what I meant when I said that the backpack, the lack of backpack in this map is very impactful. So this is a safe spot, and as you can see, it's a pretty good defense position. If you can make it all the way up to this point, then you just have to survive this. But as you can see, it's still not easy. You really have to keep the horde at bay, and keep the revenants nicely leveled so that none of them get too close to you. But here's the problem. Eventually you will run out of rockets, and that's what I meant about the backpack. Eventually there will be a point where you're gonna have to run all the way back down to resupply. And hopefully by that point most of the revenants are dead, but I mean, just look at this mess. Like, imagine fighting all of those revenants from this position. Thankfully we will get out of here alive. Yeah, and that's the point. I look at the monster count, there's still 1 enemy left, and I'm like, oh no, did something not teleport? I have finally survived this madness and I cannot get a clean UV max. But, of course, I've already spoiled it for you. There's this one Arachnotron that I forgot about. But that was a moment of panic, believe me. I mean, technically, it wouldn't be my fault if one of the monsters did not teleport, right? But still, it would not be like a completely legit UV max. And I have to tell you, the moment I teleported into that arena with Arachnotrons, I have never been so happy to hear the Arachnotron sound in my life before. Anyway, we're finally done with this level. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to get this UV max, but it's finally done and I'm happy about this. Really, that staircase fight is just too much. I do not wish it on anybody. Now, if you get a UV max playthrough of this level, then you can be proud of yourself. That's definitely one of the most difficult levels that I've ever played because of that staircase fight. But we're finally done with this. Thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.